It's live okay, and we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our talk today. We are with the Stigma-Free Society, and this is Wellness Chats with Nisha. And I have an amazing guest today that I'm excited to introduce. I'm just going to post this right now. So onto my chats with Nisha, as I just blast my volume on my phone. I knew I was going to do that. Okay, so, and I'm sharing it so that everyone can also join us. So today I am going to be interviewing Tessah Clark. She is the Executive Director of Face of Today Foundation. So before I get into introducing Tessah, I'm just going to go over a quick disclaimer, just to let you know that in this video today, we're going to talk about how COVID-19 and different things in the world are really having an impact on us right now. And we're really starting to shift from being completely in to kind of out. And really this is like new territory for everyone. It has an emotional toll. And if you feel that you're at risk or in crisis of harming yourself, please know you need to stop watching this and call 911 so that our amazing first responders can do their jobs. So, good afternoon. My name is Nisha. I'm a registered clinical counselor. I used to be a teacher, and I've worked with the Ministry of Children and Family Development in intake. I own a media company. My husband and I are co-founders of Human Biography, and we specialize in documentaries and social media commercials. And I host this series, Wellness Chats with Nisha, every Thursday at 2. Today we moved it to 11, so thanks for joining us at 11, a little bit earlier today. And if you are finding this helpful, if you think that someone could benefit from this talk, please do share it. Feel free to share it, boost it, post it. We just want to help as many people as we can. So I would love to introduce Tessah Clark. Hello, Tessah.
Hi, how are you doing?
Amazing. How are you this beautiful morning? I'm looking for sunshine, but that's okay. It's still a beautiful morning.
Yeah, a little bit gray out, but that's okay. I'm doing really well, thanks.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you as part of Face of Today, joining us on our wellness chats today. So I'm going to tell you a bit about Tessah. Tessah is accomplished. She's a published social cause innovator and communications professional with international experience in the public and private sector. She's worked directly with multiple organizations, and her passion lies in creating social solutions through bold communications at large. It's very interesting. Tessah's current role in leading the Face of Today's Foundation as executive director is overseeing the organization's vision that all youth will have access to the resources and education needed to support their mental wellness. Face of Today's mission is to invest in strategic partnerships with aligned organizations, provide resources for youth programs that support mental well-being, foster resilience, encourage personal development, nurture educational growth, and promote the mindset of giving back. In 2019, Face of Today opened its resource center at the heart of Gastown to bring youth programs to the community with a mental health focus. So Tessah, very interesting background, and why don't we start with your role at Face of Today Foundation? Maybe you could tell us a bit about, like what you do and why it's meaningful for you.
Absolutely. So I actually started out with Face of Today in a volunteer capacity. I was working a full-time job at a global consulting firm, and I was working the 9 to 5. I was doing a job that I started out loving, and then it became a bit repetitive for me. So I have ADHD, and so repetitive tasks are very, very hard for me to stay engaged with.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for some purpose and some meaning, and I found Face of Today, and I started volunteering with them. It instantly resonated with me, this idea of getting youth the resources they need to understand their mental health and better themselves and be able to shape their own futures. So I was really excited. I volunteered there for let's say maybe 8 months. And then I switched into a full-time role as director of operations. And then as of July 1st, I stepped into this position. So this is my very first interview as executive director.
Wow.
So it's very exciting for me. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm
Wow.
honestly so thrilled.
What a, even for those watching, like how cool is this story, right? Yeah, I've also done career counseling for people. I'm a clinical counselor. Career counseling was part of what I did. And that is such a success story, Tessa, of, firstly being aware of, okay, what goes on with my own mental health within my work? How do I work best? What is stimulating for me? What is interesting to me? And then to switch gears and say, you know what, this type of work is not really lifting me up. I need something new. And then switching into, okay, I'm going to do a volunteer job. And I love that because I say that to people. If you aren't in the career that you love, go volunteer in something that does fulfill you. And then it will open up doors. It can open up paths. And like, look, now you're the executive director of Face of Today. This is a major success story.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always a bit scary, when you're thinking about shifting gears and starting a new career, but I'm so happy. I think this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've had a little bit of luck with volunteering in that way. So I was volunteering with Canadian Mental Health Association in Victoria, which is where I'm originally from, and that actually led to a paid position with them. Wow. So I feel like that kind of inspired me I knew that it was possible that taking those sorts of risks could really pay off in the end. And now here I am. So it's very exciting.
I love how that's also a building block, right? That you had the experience there, then you built on what you knew, and then also taking that risk that let me just try. And I feel like this would be meaningful work. I think that's huge. And then now you're with Face of Today, and maybe you could share with us, because it's such an amazing organization, right? Like they do so much good. I know that Cassandra is so like, it's heartfelt, and the work that they do in caring for the kids. Maybe you could share with us like the vision and the goals of Face of Today and who benefits from this beautiful work.
Absolutely. So Face of Today has been around for over 10 years now. And for the last 10 years, or I guess I should say 9 years, it's traditionally been fundraising and then giving away grants and funds to different community partners and organizations that support youth, whether that's with education or with fitness or with mental health. We really just look at building up and development of youth in Vancouver. And then we got our beautiful space in the Dominion building downtown just over a year ago. So beautiful. We've completely renovated it. We've made it such a safe, open space for youth to come in, access the gym. We have a little library. We have our recording studio. It's being renovated right now. And we were really gearing up to have a real community sort of based approach for the center. And we were about to kick off in March, and then of course,
wow,
COVID-19. Yes, so we've had to completely pivot and restructure our strategic plan and organizational plans for the year. So it's really been bittersweet. It has allowed us to really take a step back and get creative with the climate that we're in right now. So we have taken a very different approach. We've put on a few different online campaigns. So youth were able to get involved at home. So we had the Youth Startup Challenge, where we had youth in grades 8 to 12 apply online, put together a bit of a business plan, and then we would select winners. We had a little judges panel, and the winners are now going through a process of receiving a $1,000 prize package, working with a mentor specific to their project and trying to build that up. And so that was one of the projects that we wanted to engage youth in, just to give them some inspiration, have something positive to focus on, stimulate the economy potentially. It's a really amazing project, and it was really, really cute. we have a partnership with CAMH, and so Gym Tree Living actually gave the kids a little shout out, saying, congratulations on winning, and given, Dragon's Den. It meant a lot to them. So
really
that was it was amazing. Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot more promotions and engagement with that project as we go along. But currently, we have 2 scholarships available. It's the Self-Investment Scholarship. So youth in grades, well, I guess youth would be graduated now, grade 12, or successful graduates that are enrolled in any sort of post-secondary program. It could be vocational training, anything along those lines. They can apply so long as they can demonstrate financial aid. And they have to submit an essay about how they have prioritized their well-being and mental health during a time of crisis.
Wow, it's so much great information there, especially for those watching. Let's talk about the idea of the sharing of your experience of mental health, mental wellness during COVID. Give me an example of like the kind of thing that you are looking for, because I think that this would be very interesting for people to apply to. So what they would do is just write an essay.
Yeah, so if go to faceoftoday.ca, and we have it right on our website. And what we're looking for is, we want everyone to stay within their limits and their comforts, right? Like, you don't have to bare your total soul, but some self-awareness of how they have kept themselves happy or balanced, or kind of in touch with normal life during this really challenging time, because I think it was obviously a very, very difficult time for most of us, but it's also such a beautiful time to reflect. I think a lot of people that weren't aware of mental health or well-being were kind of forced to see, okay, going outside and getting fresh air does contribute to me feeling better, or seeing family makes a huge impact in my mood. So I think just kind of getting in touch with that and articulating that in some way is really what we're looking for.
So meaningful. I think I had a lot of conversations about this particular subject, especially in COVID-19 lockdown, and like what makes you personally feel better? Because if we can share that with each other, like, what am I doing? Like, I would have little WhatsApp groups with my friends, and we said, okay, what are you doing to feel better? What are you doing to help your kids feel better? Except a 5-year-old and 8-year-old. What are you doing to just be uplifted every day? And like, those conversations are so important, and that self-reflection is so important, because if we didn't do that, it's very easy to get down, and for the people around us to get down. And so I love that you've created that, because by even helping children, like if you have a child, get them to apply to this, get them to, if they get it or if they don't, just even the learning that comes from this, right? Like, and I hope they get it, but the learning that comes from this, that gets them to reflect on, okay, when it was a tough time, or when I do have tough times in the future, what do I tap into? What makes me feel better? Because that's resilience, right? That's what's going to make it through their whole life.
It's going to go so far for them in the future too, to have that toolkit, right? And know themselves, and know, okay, when I'm having a down day, I know exactly what's going to make me feel better, and I'm going to be able to pick myself back up and continue on, because life is full of up and downs, and you just never know what's going to happen. So it's about building that resiliency. Absolutely.
I tell my kids that all the time. Everything's not just like rainbows and unicorns. There's tough days, there's good days, there's bad days, there's everything in between. But it's what do you do to, like, what's your self-talk in between to, like, get yourself to a good place. And I think that there's so much positivity that can come out from this. And so this is due, I believe, by August 4th.
Yes, I believe so. We set the due date. I'll have to double check. Sorry.
I think it's August, and then recipients will be contacted August 12th. And so, it's interesting that you said it's like building their toolkit, because even like as Stigma-Free Society does, they have the Stigma-Free toolkit, and it's all about empowering and helping and supporting youth, It's about supporting families, parents, helping them understand how to have these conversations with children during these tough times. And although things are opening up here in Vancouver, it's not still necessarily easy to navigate. And as you know, Tessa, you and I were talking earlier before we jumped on this call, that it is tough to suddenly just come into the world again and know what to do and how to be. So toolkits are very valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's such an uncertain time, I think, you know, like even the messages that we're getting, there's still not completely clear answers about what we can and cannot do. And it's a lot about just up to us about what we feel is right. And then adding on that, you know, we haven't really been socializing around people for the last 3 months. I know I have a lot of anxiety about getting back to like the real world and what that's going to look like. So I think, yeah, it's just like sitting with that and being like, okay, gotta feel some feelings and get through it.
Anxiety definitely has its peak moments where I'm like, okay, I'm going out, I'm going to talk to people. How am I going to be? How's this going to feel? And then coming home and being exhausted. And so like, you know, it takes a toll. And so what have you personally done to help yourself during this time to just feel better and to, you know, keep elevated?
I'm really lucky. I have an adorable little dog who makes me stay so present in the moment. And so going for lots of walks with Molly, playing with her. Yeah, I honestly think pets can be such a huge lifesaver. Yeah. And for me personally, like with ADHD and anxiety, I really feel like Molly is just, she brings me back down to earth. She makes me grounded. Yeah. And she helps me focus. So my dog has definitely been like my saving grace, I would say, during COVID.
Just pets are so sweet. My daughter keeps asking me for a dog. I'm like, oh, one day I might just come home with a little puppy. I don't know.
I mean, they are a lot of work.
So amidst, you know, everything that happened with, you know, lockdown, quarantine, how has the work of Face of Today, you know, changed and or continued during this time? Like, how did it look different? I know you were saying you have this beautiful center, but what's different, but what did continue?
So, of course, the center was closed down, and we were going to start programming, I think, the day before the kind of official lockdown. So we had to really quickly just re-strategize and figure out how are we going to make an impact on the lives of these youth. Yeah. How do we figure out what they need? Luckily, we have amazing community partners, and that's what we really rely on in order to understand where the gaps are. Yes. So we work with Girls Who Leap, Heroes Hockey, Boys Club Network, Sarah McLachlan School of Music are just a few, but they've been so wonderful.
Like, what do some of your partners do that, like, some of the work?
So, for instance, Girls Who Leap, they've been in the space quite a bit. So we were doing weekly art classes with them, and they would come into the space. Sometimes we would have snacks for them. We have practicum students from Adler University. Oh, and so they would, for their social justice practicum program. And we've had a few that are doing their art therapy master's degree. Wow. So, of course, they don't practice therapy, but they help kind of create projects that are very contained and allow for creativity in a very safe and positive way. So it's using those sort of connections to really create these fun opportunities and get to know the youth. And a few Girls Who Leap youth have actually gotten some scholarships this year, which is wonderful. Wow. And we're hoping to just grow that partnership and kind of streamline so that we can give these resources, these scholarship opportunities to the youth that need it as quickly and as most impactful as possible.
Oh yeah, it's so meaningful. Just before everything kind of shut down around the world, we were in Napa Valley in California, and we were documenting some amazing people, and one of them was Sarah McLachlan, and she was talking about her school, and she actually had one of the girls from her school on stage with her singing. And I just thought, this is it. Like, this is so meaningful that we have to ensure that the youth and still get access to things that are valuable to them. So, for example, like you just said, they get to come in and do art, or maybe with the Sarah McLachlan School of Music, there's some music involved, right? Like, but there's just, I think you said you also have a recording studio in your space. So this is just keeping those magical, creative, heart-filling, expressions open for people who need it. Like, kids need it, everyone needs it, but we need it even more when we're experiencing tough things. It's like,
Absolutely.
right. And so beautiful that you have these different organizations that you work with. And what is that like? How do you choose this? Like, what's the guiding kind of principle of Face of Today? What is it that kind of,
In terms of the partnerships that I would say, so we work with youth, so ages 13 up to 24.
Yeah.
And really, we're looking for a partnership where they're working closely with youth. They are consistent. They're committed to their youth. The communication's there. It's easy. It's transparent. I would say if we have the same values. So we just redid or I shouldn't say redid, I should say kind of revised our values as we were going through this COVID period to really help us focus. And so our values now, it's care. So it's commitment. So commitment to the youth, they always come first and foremost.
Great.
Accessibility. So overcoming any barriers. So that's a big focus for us. Resiliency, of course, we've discussed that. Yeah. And then empowerment. So just allowing youth to build themselves up, right? And giving them the tools to create their own future. So any organization that aligns with that, we'll have a conversation, and we'd love to hear from you if anyone is listening and they're from an organization that kind of fits that criteria.
Love that. And the idea of empowerment is just so powerful. I remember years ago, we were in a Soyuz with Face of Today and Cassandra and documenting this amazing program that was introducing youth to a wakeboard camp. So all these kids who had never gone wakeboarding in this amazing location, and just having all these super healthy meals and great conversations and empowerment. It was about empowerment, confidence, encouragement, life experiences. I was so moved. It was so beautiful. And I feel like just that, Face of Today does such amazing things. Like, to anyone who's watching, just know that there are programs out there. There are amazing programs out there that can support you, support your children, support your family. And whatever it is, it's just having those conversations and reaching out and saying, like, hey, this is what's going on with me. This is what's going on with my child, with our family. This is where we need support. We'd love to have a conversation. There are people working on so many amazing things like Tessah, right, that are making these programs happen. And so how are you adapting and keeping connected to the community at this time? Because I know there's lots of changes, but are there certain things that you guys are doing, or is it that the programs themselves have adapted, and while they're adapting, you're working on like the bigger picture?
Lots of Zoom calls, I would say, with the community partners, lots of Zoom calls. The center right now is still closed. We made the decision to keep it closed until September, and we're going to decide what to do at that point. But we have gone through and completely outfitted it with all the safety and health protocols. Mm-hmm. So I think slowly we might start having a few work sessions in there. We might have some youth come in, depending. We're just going to kind of see. I feel like right now it's so hard to say anything for certain, just because the future is so unclear. But what is for certain is that we will continue to offer scholarships, and we are going to be launching a tutoring program in September.
Oh, great.
It might be online if it has to be. Hopefully it's going to be in the center. And so that's going to be 2 times a week.
Amazing.
And that is something, that I'll leave it that, and you'll just have to stay tuned for more information, but that's something really exciting that we're going to be offering.
That's very positive. I think that offering tutoring, especially with how, the school system, we don't know how it will be in September. We don't know what it will look like. Things will definitely be different. And so I think any kind of additional support for learning is massive. Being a homeschooling parent myself now, I know that it's not easy. And so having any kind of extra support definitely makes a difference. And also children, I feel, tend to, learn really well with other people or tutors. I think that maybe might be a little more cool than the parents.
Or just someone different, right? Like mom and dad are telling me to do all these things, and now they're trying to tell me how to learn. Like, it's hard.
Enough already. I've had enough. So Tessah, maybe you could tell us a bit more. You touched on the Youth Startup Challenge, and it seems like such a neat idea. So what it was basically kids were called to bring in ideas because of COVID-19 restrictions to submit projects and business ideas that would help stimulate the local economy and provide good services during isolation. And so you were saying that, Jim Treliving, I can't even pronounce the name correctly.
Treliving, I think.
Yes.
Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Treliving from the CBC Dragons Den. So he announced 6 youth winners across your social media, and each winner got $1,000 towards building their startup idea. So firstly, how cool is that? Everyone must have loved it. And secondly, maybe you could tell us some of the ideas that did come out of this, because it just seems so intriguing.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a lot of really creative ideas. It was so fantastic to see youth getting creative and thinking about new ways of doing things. I do have to thank Grant Thornton. They were the ones that donated the funds to allow us to put together the prize packages. So they have been a wonderful corporate sponsor for us.
Excellent.
So in terms of just different project ideas, there have been a few. So have you heard of Klarn maps before?
Mm-mm. No.
Klarn maps. Okay. So basically it's using like plastic grocery bags, and a lot of them, and weaving them together in such a way that it creates like a nice thick mattress, and it's extremely durable. So you can use it outside. It's fantastic. It's really, really great for individuals who are experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
So there was a girl that put forward an idea to basically do that in larger quantities in order to help a lot of the people suffering in the downtown east side. So that was one idea that I absolutely loved, because of course it's recycling, right? That's great.
Yeah, it's everything.
Amazing. Yeah. There was another great idea. The girls created even a business name called Stick Together. And it was to get internet Wi-Fi USB sticks basically into the communities that are having issues accessing Wi-Fi. Because of course, with everything closed down, the public areas where individuals can go to access Wi-Fi are no longer available. So making sure that communities can still access Wi-Fi and can still, go to school online or attend work meetings, even if they can't afford it, monthly personally, giving them that opportunity, getting those little sticks, right? So amazing.
Love that idea. I was watching something of a mom and daughter in New York, and they had to go and sit on some stairs somewhere to try to get Wi-Fi on the mom's phone so that she could do her homework on her mom's phone, because that's what they had for school work access. And this idea is brilliant, because
right? Like,
we need that access, and we might take it for granted, but it's not that easy all the time. Wow.
And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of us we can forget, right? Because in our everyday life, everything just becomes normal for us.
Yeah.
But it's shocking at how many people experience that and might not have access or the ability to get that. So it was just mind-blowing and absolutely heartwarming to see all these different creative ideas and how youth are really thinking about other people and others' circumstances during this really hard time. It was beautiful to see how they were being so proactive about helping others instead of focusing on their own pain, because of course everyone's having a hard time. So it was, yeah, very selfless, very sweet ideas.
Wow, these are amazing. And it's like, I think if we can just give youth the opportunity to have a voice, they have amazing ideas. If we can say to people in our community, like, how can we help each other, and then allow them to come up with these ideas and then fund them to come up with it, like, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So the work that you're doing at Face of Today is so meaningful. I love that Face of Today stands for change to end stigma attached to mental health. That's what Stigma-Free Society is all about as well. Having the conversation so that, through awareness and support and experiences, we can all, normalize this, because we all have mental health experiences, and that we should be able to talk about them. I just want to thank you, Tessa, for the work that you're doing with your amazing organization. And also for those watching, I want you to know that there are resources out there for you. There are organizations like Face of Today, Stigma-Free Society. They are helping our youth with the resources and education that's needed to support mental health. And we start by having conversations like this and just connecting. And I just want to say thank you, Tessa, for everything. And any last words before we go of like what's next for Face of Today, or what you're looking forward to with the coming months?
I would encourage everyone just to follow us on Instagram, Face of Today Foundation, to stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more scholarships, more information about our tutoring program, and hopefully our center will open up sooner rather than later.
Phenomenal. So thank you everyone for watching. Please join me next Thursday at 2 as I have another amazing guest. And just want to say thank you to everyone who supported us over this last week of fundraising. We reached our goal and of 20,000, and it was a really heartfelt week. And so we can continue doing the amazing work to just support the community, and just want to send much love to everyone. Much love to you, Tessa. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Great.